Alrighty, well, hey everyone, welcome back. I wish we were meeting on different circumstances. Obviously, the markets were down today. Miners got hit hard today. There's a lot of FUD going on in the economy system overall, more or less. We'll talk about all that's going on here. So what's kind of causing this? We'll talk about it, at least what I see as possibilities for it. We'll get into obviously all your questions. You guys already have a lot of questions in the comments here. We'll get into all those at the end here. We do have some good news. Nonetheless, which is good, not only on Bitcoin, but on Cleanspark, on IREN as well, others possibly as well. And then we have also Riot update. We have TeraWolf update as well on the convertible notes. And I think one of you guys just posted that Bitfarms has provided also that their convertible notes got upsized to like 500 million there. We'll talk about that. I haven't seen that yet. I was looking at it, but we'll talk about all that. And then more, right? I think this is just FUD. I think this is just a little correction that we're having here. Possibly, we'll see though. All right, but let's get into it here. As always, you guys know, non-financial advice. For entertainment only, do your own research. Full disclosure below that, as always. Hit the like button, subscribe if you can. Helps me out tremendously here. And let me get my screens up properly in the order that I want them to be in. Forgot to do that before I went live here, so I do apologize for that. But let's take a look at everything that happened here today, that we saw at least. All right, so here's what we got going on. Bitcoin obviously took a pretty big hit today as well. It's actually up in the after hours right now, 0.61%, so that's actually pretty good here. We are bouncing off the simple moving average 200-day, right, which is the green line here. We are bounced off of it back in Friday, the 10th, which was about a week ago, and then we're bouncing off of it here again right now. So that might be a good sign here for us. As long as it stays above that, we should be in pretty good shape here, I think, and it is bouncing off of that. So that's kind of nice to see here. Markets were down today as well, right? Dow Jones was down 0.65, NASDAQ was down 0.47, S&P was down 0.63, and the Russell was down 2.11% there. Miners, on the other hand, had a worse day. Bitcoin was down 2.35% today. Ethereum got clobbered as well. A little bit here, was down 2.32%. So pretty close to where Bitcoin was here. And so what's going on with everything here in the economy? I mean, you guys can obviously see all these miners being down here. Here's what I was able to find today. You guys can tell me if you guys agree or disagree with this. But here's what we got right now going on. We got the China tariffs FUD going on, right, between the U.S. and China there. It seems like they're trying to work things out. Hopefully they do work things out because we don't need this, to be honest. And then we also had at least one or two banks report that they've defaulted. At least one bank defaulted on $50 million in loans there. That didn't give a warm, fuzzy feeling to people there. Also, I saw that 9% of credit card delinquencies for the last month, I guess that would be for. So 9%, that's the highest since 2012. Obviously, there's a fear of recession on top of that because of all that. And then we also had the 10-year treasuries dipped as well, right? They got to around 4, even below that a little bit for a while. So treasuries are coming down here. People are going into cash. Basically, they're buying up treasuries right now. They're getting out of equities, stocks, and things like that, and going into treasuries for some reason, which doesn't make much sense because, well, that's just my take on it. But obviously, everything has run up here quite tremendously, especially in the miners here. So I'm not surprised on that we're having some profits taken. And we had some kind of strange action happening on the miners as well. We'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, it's just people going to cash. Just kind of things that all led up to it today, I think, as far as why the markets were down. The miners were down a lot more. Obviously, the miners are more risky, especially the ones that are getting into BTC and AI, right? Bitcoin and AI as well. There's obviously risk in there. It's more risky than some of the other equities that are out there, stocks and things like that. And that's why we saw these guys getting hit especially hard today, even with Bitcoin being only down 2%, right? All of these guys were down, 5, 7, 6x of that on top of it. So that's kind of where I'm thinking things are heading right now, is uncertainty in the markets, uncertainty with tariffs, some bad news here as well. We also have, obviously, the employment market being weak. That doesn't bode well for us. And then the only thing that's really good for us here is quantitative easing might be happening here faster than we think. Rate cuts are going to be coming in October as well, possibly in December as well. So that should be a catalyst to kind of bring us back up here. So until those things happen, we might be in this kind of nowhere man's land right now, at least for a couple of days until these things clear out here a little bit. But at least what I'm seeing on Bitcoin here, bouncing off the 200 SMA, that's looking good for me here. Miners, like I said, I think we just needed a correction on these guys. They've had a huge run up here, so we can't expect to be going up every single day on it, even though it's very, very nice to see. And with today's dip, I'll be honest with you guys, on paper, I was down over 300,000 today. I know a lot of you guys were probably down even more than that. Some of you maybe a little bit less. But it's hard to stomach when you're looking at it. But we've been through this before, right? We've seen these dips before, and we've bounced off of them as well in an amount of time. We don't know if it's going to be a couple of days or it's going to be a couple of weeks, but we do typically bounce off of these things. And I think a lot of the stuff that's in the background noise, will get sorted out, and we will move forward here. It is in the best interest of the Republican Party, which is now in power, obviously, with President Trump. And the Senate and Congress, I believe, are all controlled by Republicans. It's in their best interest to keep the economy going nicely, right? Growing and everything else. So especially with the midterm elections coming in next year as well, I think they're going to try and do everything they can to have a good economy, because, well, if you don't, you might as well, at that point, kiss goodbye to any seats being possibly gained there on it. You're probably going to end up losing seats there to the Democratic Party. So I think in the long run, we'll still be okay here, and things are going to pop. There's still a lot of good news happening in AI, as well with the miners here. So we'll talk about that next here, but we'll go through the miners, how they did today, and then everything else that we got going on. All right. So that's my take on it right now, at least. Today, I think, was just a buying opportunity day. I'll leave it at that, right? If you had cash on the sideline, today was probably a good day to buy in a little bit. Dollar cost average down on these guys here. But here's what we had here. Bitfarms was down today 18.39%. So definitely taking a beating here in the last day. Well, today for sure. It was up to 660 here the day before. It's down to 528 right now. Definitely got a huge hit there. BitDeer was down just a little bit, surprisingly. Did pretty much better than anybody else here. It was down only 0.08%. Right, they came out with great news yesterday on their production for September, along with their timeline to get to have also HPC AI business on top of it as well. So that helped the stock, I think, kind of hang on to some of those gains there a little bit. Kang was down 4.81%. Cypher was down 10.98%. Again, see how these guys have run. I mean, a lot of these guys have had a nice run up here. So, right, we've had some corrections. They bounced off of those things. We'll see if we bounce tomorrow or not. Cleanspark, same thing, had a nice run here. Correction. We had a slight correction there today. It was down 13.84%. And one of the things I wanted to show you guys as well on the 15-minute time frame, if we look at this, a lot of these guys acted the same way. So look at this chart here for the day. Cleanspark, Cypher, right on the money, pretty much close to each other here. I think even Bitfarms in the sense here, yeah, follows the same path. IREN is another one that kind of followed that same path. We were down, up, down, up. I mean, they all followed it. So I think it's a lot of algos that were trading on this stuff, and they all kind of traded in line, in sync with one another, and the whole thing was going down because of it. It just didn't make any sense for all of these guys to trade the same way, other than having algos being the reason for it there. So something got triggered on the algos, and we got a sell-off here. Going back here, CORZ was down 1.35%. Hive was down 14.24%. Hut 8, 9.52%. IREN, 9%, 9.05%. Mara was down 11.27%. Riot, 11.66%. Wolf was down 10.41% there. The Bitcoin holding companies did actually a little bit better today. They weren't down as much as the miners were. MicroStrategy was down 4.35%. Galaxy was down 4.8%. Right, we're seeing the same kind of pattern here as we've seen with the miners with these guys, but a little bit less as far as downside pressure. Block was down 2.09%. Coin was down 1.8%. Metaplanet was down 2.79%. Exodus down 8.34%. Nexon was down 2.52%. Semler was down 3.14%. Phoenix was down 3.45%. GameStop was down 1.84%. Small miners were mixed, however, though. We're seeing some miners be actually in the green here, all things considered. Any was up 3.96% for some reason. Argo was down 18.14%. This thing just continues to go down. And then we got DigiPower. DigiPower was actually up 0.56% on the day. So that one was able to squeak out a green. DMG was down 13%. Mawson was up 16% today for no reason. Canon was down 14.8%. So that one kind of traded along with the miners there. And then we got the Bitcoin ETFs here, the Bitcoin miner ETFs. They got pounded as well. BitQ was down 6.41%. BKCH down 9.63%. DAP was down 6.83%. WGMI down 9.97%. Ethereum holding companies got hit too. BMNR was down 5%, so it was double what Ethereum did there. BitDigital was down like actually 4 times that, down 9.11%. BTCS down 6.47. Game was down 5.14. SBET was down 3.83. And some of the other ones that we track here as well. American Bitcoin was down 10%. Wi-Fi was down 14.29. Open was down 3.6. Oracle was up 3.09%. Fermi, right, it was up also 4.07%. Nebius was down 2.2. Soluna was down just a little bit, 2.33. Bakkt was down 8.51. And yeah, that's all of these guys here. So obviously, strange things happening with the miners here today. Like I said, I think it was the algos trading because they all kind of traded in sync. Just seeing, on the chart, you can see it. They just followed each other, basically. That's strange. To me, at least, a lot of profit taking happening here, I think, as well. We might see that a little bit more tomorrow. People are just kind of freaked out a little bit right now. Eventually, this will subside, and we will be going green again. So, healthy pullback, in my opinion. We needed this. I was kind of waiting for this to happen. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but we needed this. So, I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't turn into something much far worse than this. And a major correction or major recession in the markets, which I don't think we're in right now yet. I think we have a ways to go before we get there anyways. All right, so there's that. Let's take a quick look to see where the miners are right now in the after hours as it is. Let's see. Okay, BitDeer's down 1.08%. Bitfarms here, refresh that as well. That one is down 3.98%. Cypher is, let's see, down 4.54%. Cleanspark here is down 3.85%. CORZ Scientific is down, come on, Yahoo load, 2.54. Hive Digital is down, let's see, I think it's down, down 6.68%, so that's definitely taking a hit there. And after hours, Hut 8 right now is down just a little bit, 0.51%. IREN is, let's see, it's down 3.87%, so not too bad, but still down. Mara Holdings is, let's see here, down 0.27%. Riot, let's see where that one comes in at 0.2%, up actually in the green there. TeraWolf is now, come on, load. Sorry about the flash of bright light there. It's down 4.69%, and Soluna Holdings here in the after hours is down 9.31%. Okay, so it is getting beat up more so in the after hours right now as it is. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin here for the month of October here. That's wrong number there. We were down 4.64%. So October right now, as of right now, is kind of canceled. We'll see if we can bounce back from this going forward. And let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETF inflows as well, or outflows that we saw here. Yeah, we saw a lot of outflows today. 501 million so far without IBIT reporting. We'll probably be close to 750,000 there, if not a little bit higher, depending on what IBIT has done here recently. Okay, a couple of good things that we have to talk about here. Riot provided their quarterly update for third quarter. They're going to be releasing those figures coming on Thursday, October 30th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time during the call. Riot will discuss the results of the quarter ended, obviously, September 30th here. So that's kind of nice. They're so far the first ones to report. We'll see how others will follow suit as well. And then we got TeraWolf update on their convertible notes here, right? So TeraWolf announces pricing of $3.2 billion of senior secured notes. Today they announced that its wholly owned subsidiary Wolf Compute has priced $3.2 billion offering of 7 3/4 senior secured notes due 2030. The notes at par are obviously going to be, I think there is something about 250 or 225 million a year in fees, basically in interest alone. So that's definitely quite a bit there. So they definitely need to have a lot of compute helping them out to pay for that. And they will be getting that from, obviously, FluidStack and Google there. So no worries there, I think. Also, Wolf Compute intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to finance a portion of its data center expansion at its Lake Mariner campus in Barber Lake, New York. The data center expansion, so that's what it's going to be mostly used for. Okay. So a little surprised that they didn't get 0%, but they did get 7 3/4. Okay. So that's going to be a little bit costly for them on a yearly basis there. On that one. All right, so that's it for that. Some good news stories that we do have here, potentially. Fear and Greed Index is pretty low. It's at 25 right now. We could go obviously lower than that. We have been there before as well, but it is getting low here. So the Fear and Greed Index is sitting at extreme fear, and the VIX is at 25, while SPY and QQQ are still less than 3% from all-time highs. The data and the mood are telling two very different stories, which is true, right? So people are just freaked out, but they still want to be in stocks there, it seems like. This is from Dennis Porter here. Huge breaking. California passes law to enable the state to custody Bitcoin and digital assets. The fourth largest economy in the world will soon be holding Bitcoin. This is incredibly bullish. I agree there. This is great news there. And eventually we'll have more and more states doing this as well. So that's good. This is from the tech investor here. IREN Whale bought 1.85 million shares at $63.89. That's valued at about 118 million there. Bottom line, the whale didn't time the market. She knows very well that IREN is extremely attractive at the current valuation. I agree, right? IREN, I mean, we're seeing definitely much higher price targets for them as it is already. And with them getting the additional 1 billion in convertible notes, they can, buy more GPUs, increase their revenues going forward into next year. They're at 23,000 GPUs right now. We're looking at hopefully them getting to like 63,000 or 60,000 GPUs. In a short order. So that's kind of what we're hoping that they're going to announce here, something like that next week. And if they do, the stock's going to be off to the races, I think, at that point. So this is great news. Somebody's definitely very, very bullish there. Next, we have this from Ernest. Cleanspark, another analyst report is out with the high target set for Cleanspark. Clear Street targets is $30. So that is great there. They met both with Gary Vee and Harry Sudek at Jackson and Centersville sites. They left feeling very confident in management's ability to disrupt the HPC space through Greenfield, with M&A increasing next year as well. Key points I'll share, details on comments. HPC entry via Greenfield development, BTC and HPC synergy, attractive ROI framework, power pipeline as a differentiator, and proven execution, which they all do have obviously there. But that's great news for Cleanspark there. So we're still having obviously good things happening here for the miners, even though we were down today. Next year from Value Investor, Bitfarms dropped 18% today. Painful, sure. Unexpected, not at all. Yep. Had a huge run up here. We needed a little bit of a dip on these guys here, and Bitfarms was not an exception there. This is what early looks like. Parabolic runs always get hit with profit taking, margin calls, and algorithmic flushes, which is kind of what I think we saw today. Was the algos just going crazy today? But the story hasn't changed. Clean energy, right? 1.3 gigawatt pipeline, prime U.S. locations, AI plus Bitcoin crossover narrative, and convertible capital raised for expansion. Right, so I agree there. This is, still really, really, excuse me, unexpected what happened today, but kind of expected in a sense as well. So that's looking good there. And then this is from Matthew Siegel here. Thermo Fisher to use OpenAI tools to boost drug development. Spotify in partnerships to develop artists' first AI music. Apple in talks to buy Prompt AI. And OpenAI hires award-winning black hole physicist. Fadwaller AI investment to continue if it boosts productivity. So a lot of good things happening here in the AI space here, I believe. Right? We're going to, like we talked about yesterday with Google and somebody else, that they are working on cures for cancer, things like that. This is all good for humanity, all good for us and, people that we love. If you've ever had anybody that has dealt with cancer, it's no walk in the park. It is obviously very traumatizing, not only to the person that's got it, but also to the family members around them as well, right? To see them have to go through that. So if we can do anything to prevent that from happening in the future, I'm all for it. And I think AI is going to be the tool that's going to be used there to assist all of the scientists and everything else to come up with novel technologies that can eventually maybe cure or prevent cancer altogether. All right, so I'm looking forward to that because I'd love to live, 100, 150 years if possible. I think all of us would if we could. Right, eventually I do want to die because I think the nice thing about humanity is that it refreshes every so often, right? So we don't want people living around to be 1,000 years and then having them all have all the power. So we need a refresh every once in a while. But I think 100, 150 years would be nice. As long as my cognitive brain is good, right? Everything else is good. I'm able to still be dependent on myself. I'm okay with that. But if I'm, tied up on tubes or something like that, living that way, I don't want to do that. But that's just me. Okay. So there's that. And then lastly, here we have this. This is XAI's reporting securing a $20 billion lease to own deal with NVIDIA GPUs to lock in long-term inference capacity. It's also forming a joint venture with Solaris Energy to build a 1 gigawatt power plant to feed it. So a lot of capital still going into AI, building it out. I mean, there's huge demand for it. I'm sure you guys see it as well. I'm seeing it obviously as well. And it's just going to continue to go here. I think there's no stopping this train. It's going forward. You better be on it, and you'll make out at that point, or you can be off of it and lose out a bunch. So hop on the train there if you haven't already. All right, that is it that I had for you guys here. Bitfarms also, I guess, reported as well. Let me take a look, see if I can find that on their. Let me see if that would probably be on the SEC website there. So bear with me while I try to pull this up really quick on it. All right, sec.gov, BITF. Okay, BITF, Bitfarms. All right, let's see if we got any updates here on this. All right, let's go here. Okay, report of foreign issuer. Would that be it? That's from today. It's the October 15th, the register filed for Canadian Securities Regulatory. This material reported change of October. Let's see. Bitfarms announced the proposed offering of. Okay, so I think we talked about this on October 15th. Yeah, so that was yesterday. So I have not seen. One of you guys reported that they have upped that to 500 million. I'm not seeing that here. Let's see if it's on Bitfarms website. If they provided anything in there. Bitfarms.com for investors. That's us. Let's see here. News and events, press releases. Let's go there. Okay, there it is. Okay, perfect. So it is up here. Okay. Bitfarms announces pricing of upsized 500 million of convertible senior notes. Opportunistic capital raise for general corporate purposes. We talked about that yesterday as well. Okay, so today announced that it has priced its offering 500 million aggregate principal amount of 1.375% convertible senior notes due 2031. Okay, so that's actually a pretty good low number there. Bitfarms also granted the initial purchasers of the convertible notes an option to purchase for a 13-day period, including the date on which the convertible notes are first issued, up to an additional 88 million aggregate principal. Okay, on the convertible notes. The aggregate principal amount of the offering was increased from the previously announced offering size of 300 million. The offering is expected to close subject to customary closing conditions on October 21st, so obviously next week sometime. Okay, so that's nice. They got actually upsized. They had obviously more interest in it than they originally thought. So that's great news. Right? This gives them more capital to then build out their not Prince George. What's their site? Doggone, I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. What is that site? You guys know what the site that is in Pennsylvania they're building out. So that's great news here for them. I'm a happy camper here right now, owning the stock. It's obviously done very well for us. I need to slow down my talk. I'm just talking too fast, but I got too much info in my brain that I want to get out. So this is great news, nonetheless. This will give them more capital, like I said, and they can build out their site there, and maybe multiple sites as well. So great news. All right, last thing we're going to take a look at here really quick is on the miners here, miners comparison chart really quick here, just to see how they have done over the last 12 months on this, since we have got all of them reporting for September already. The only one that we don't have the most up-to-date data is IREN. IREN has not reported there. Everybody else is in here, so IREN data is going to be off a little bit here, so there's a little caveat for you right there. All right, hash rate growth over the last 12 months, BitDeer, 307%. It is firing all 8 cylinders there. Hive is up 284% as well. Hive has had huge growth here this past year, which is nice to see there. Cypher's up 164%. IREN's up 138. Cleanspark's up 81. Marathon's up 64. Riot up 26. And then the exahash added in the last 12 months. You can see Kango, 50 exahash really. I mean, those machines that were already plugged in, all they did was buy rights to them basically, or they bought them out from Bitmain there. So it's not like they put up sites and had those plugged in. So I wouldn't really count that as huge growth there for them. But it is, for a company, it is growth nonetheless. But it wasn't organic growth. There was already machines plugged in. They just bought them. IREN still came in at 29,000 there, so really good growth there as far as exahash being added. Followed by BitTree 26,000, followed by Marathon 23,000 exahash, or 23 exahash, sorry, not 23,000. Cleanspark was up 22 exahash, Hive 16, Cypher up 12, Riot up 7, and Core was actually down about 2.9, maybe even more than that. As far as percentage of the network hash rate there, Mara still has the lead, it looks like. They're at 6.4% of the network hash rate, based on my numbers at least. And then we got IREN, Cleanspark, and Kango being tied at 5.4%. After that, you got Riot at 3.8, and you got BitDeer at 3.5, Cypher 2.1, Core at 1.9, Hive at 1.9 right now as it is. Current hash rate, obviously we know Kango, Cleanspark, IREN are all at 50 exahash. Mara is about 60 exahash there. Riot at 35 along with BitDeer right now. And then we got Cypher at 20, Core at 17.6, and Hive at 21.7 there. Future hash rate growth, that's kind of where they're supposed to be getting to here, more or less. And then percentage of operational future hash rate, you can see that as well, how they are. And I need to probably add in here for AI possibilities for these guys as well. But as Bitcoin mined year to date, Mara still in the lead with 6,797, followed by Cleanspark with 5,925. Then you got IREN with 473 or 4,735. Actually, Kango might be actually ahead of them just slightly there, it looks like. Well, we don't have data for them for September, so this is for August for them, basically, up to August. Kango's at 4,876, Riot 4,363, and everybody else there below that. Going down here, year over year, BTC mine. IREN is going to be off because I don't have data for September, like I said. Kango has the biggest increase, but we know why. After that, we got BitDeer with the biggest increase, 288, followed by, it looks like, Hive, 155 more Bitcoin mined year over year, basically. Then followed by Cleanspark, and then Cypher, Mara, Riot, and CORZ actually down on that. And then we can see their current BTC HODL as it is, and what that is valued at right now on it. Okay. And then tomorrow we'll probably look at which miners did the best in September, possibly. If not, we'll do that on Sunday's show, but we'll try to pull something together for tomorrow as well as far as metrics and data on the miners going forward. All right, that is it. Let's get into Q&A here. As always, these spreadsheets are available to the Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. A couple bucks a month, and you help support what I do, and I greatly appreciate you guys there, along with all you viewers. So thank you for coming in tonight, and let's get into Q&A, see what you guys had to say on that, or anything at all. Or any questions. I'm going to take a sip of water. Or actually, it's not water, it's adult water, you can say. Today was a rough day. I need some adult beverage. All right, let's get into it here. Q&A time. As always, if you could be so kind and preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And let me see here. I want to change this out to this and put it back in. Okay. I'm going to scroll up as always, and I'm going to work my way down from there, and we'll get through all the questions and comments and everything else. But just be patient. It may take me a little while. All right. So here we go. Sour says, broke my own record of most money lost in a single day. I'm with you there as well, right? A little bit over 300,000 there was not a great day. Geo mission. This time is not different. You've been warned. There is still people waiting for $80 Mara so they can break even. There are, yeah, I would say there are. Right, Kat says today was almost as bad as Friday for me. I think we were down less last Friday than we are today. Today was much worse than we saw Friday. All right, Paul, I had a feeling why prices were so high yesterday for miners. It would cool down today. Almost seems like insiders knew this yesterday and the dump today. Possibly, I mean, algos were definitely going crazy today. Okay, we talked about that already. So Case Tank can say, asks, was it good news or bad news for Bitfarms with their upsize convertible notes? I think it's good news for them. Dan says IREN down to 58 in the after hours after 74 yesterday. Yeah, big drawdown on these guys here. We'll see if we get, we'll see if this is the end of the correction there. We'll see tomorrow. Guy, do you think Cleanspark can recover and go back to $23 in October? Cleanspark looked more weaker than Mara today. It's also been up much higher than Mara has been. So the more it goes up, I think the more downside we could possibly have on some of these guys at certain points. Do I think it can go back to 23 in October within the next 2 months or the next 2 weeks, actually? It's possible, but we'll have to see how this all shakes out in the next couple of days. Guy says, too scary to see BTC down to 107-ish. Is it over and the BTC ended? No. Like we saw it bounce above the 200 SMA, which was nice. As long as we keep that, I think we're going to be okay. We could go down a little bit more, but we'll see. Not too worried yet. Mortim, also lots of anti-IREN FUD, but IREN did better than nearly all other miners. Yep, we've seen that also. Let's see, talked about that already. Okay. Morton, JP Morgan, the employers of Reggie spread FUD about regional banks causing recession fears. This is the wall of worry. We will rip into a year after Trump gets things done with China and rates are cut. I would agree with you there. Yeah, I'm of the same opinion there. Sorry, Melon, I'm gonna wait until after the stream to cry. BTC sucks. It hasn't been having a great year. No, I'll give you that. I don't think it sucks. I think it's just controlled so much more by institutions and everything else. So it's gonna go up, but I think it's gonna be an extended journey for it to go up. All right. John Kurtz, answer: communists, Russia, communists, China, banks going broke, and Trump as our president. Hilarious. I mean, we had a nice run on the miners here, right? So we can't just say all the bad stuff on Trump and without taking the good stuff as well. So he's done quite a bit of good things as well, and there's obviously been some things that we didn't like, right? So it's never going to be 100% that you're going to be happy with the president. There's always going to be some things that you like that you're going to not like, which is okay. All right. Let's see. Cass says the convertible notes will have an initial conversion rate of, what is that, 145.686 common shares per 1,000 principal amount of convertible notes, equivalent to an initial conversion price of, not sure where we went there. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see. Geomission says BTC is fine. Everything not called gold or silver was down since Friday. Yep. AMR, evening session, how much longer do we have to keep suffering before October kicks in? LOL. I mean, the miners have done actually really, really, really well in October so far. I don't know if they're still down in the red or I think they're still in the green for October. Let's take a look at that really quick. We could probably take a quick gander here on the monthly chart on these guys here and see how they're still performing here. So, okay. All right, take a look at this. This makes me feel a little bit better here from what we're seeing, at least right now. So look at this. For October, Bitfarms is still up 87%, right? What are we crying about here? A little pullback, down 18% or something like that. You got BitDeer being up 51%. You got Kango being actually down here. Cypher is up 48% still. Cleanspark is up 37%. CORZ is up 9.64%. Hive is up 44, almost 45% there. Hut 8 is up nicely as well, up 40%. IREN is up 31%. Mara is up just a little bit. It's up 10%, almost 11% there. Riot, I'm not sure why that one's. Riot's only up 2.73%, and Wolf is up 21.37%. So, I mean, we really shouldn't be complaining just yet. Yes, it was not a great day today. We got definitely, beaten down a little bit here. But Bitcoin, if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's actually down for the month, 4.34%, right? And the miners are still outperforming it quite nicely here. So be thankful, I guess you could say. Be thankful and just be patient. Nobody climbs Mount Everest in a straight line. Everything, you go up and down, you go up and down. Eventually you will get to the peak there. So I think it's still patience is prudence here. Thinking a little bit long term as well. I think we'll be all right. I'm not panicking just yet. It's going to take a little bit more than that just to make me panic here right now. All right, let's go back to questions here on it. Q&A, there we go. Okay, let's see. All right, talked about that. Okay, here we go. Yeah, do you still believe that Cleanspark can reach 30 to 35? Yes, I do. Yeah, once we get past this FUD and whatever the heck this is going on, yeah. Mr. X says, today was a super red day. It was, especially for the miners. I would agree. HB, tough watching Bitfarms get hit the hard, but they'll bounce back. Yep. I mean, they got a kind of double whammy, right? They announced the convertible notes, and also we had a red day, so that didn't help out either. So, but eventually those guys do bounce back up after those conversions are priced in and everything else is finalized on it. All right. GNC says, lots of comparisons between this cycle and the previous cycles. Consensus is the bull run is over, or the bull run is just beginning here. SK, good time to load up on Bitfarms. I think so. And not only Bitfarms, but I think that's some of the other miners as well. If you wanted to get into them before, right, when they were running up and you weren't buying them, people were like, oh, I wish I could get a dip. Well, you have the miners on sale right now. What do you typically do when you get a sale at a store or something like that? You go and buy something that you want, especially if it's on sale here. So I think this is still probably a good buying opportunity here. All right. Question is, BitDeer, good buy at 25? Yeah, I do believe it still is there. All right. Navid, after 5X, I got out yesterday right before closing bell. I know things could still pump from here, but that mentality burnt me last cycle, waiting for the next bear market to load up. Thanks. Okay. No, that's awesome, right? You're up 5X. That's fantastic. No shame in taking profits there at all. So congratulations to you. I'm happy for you. GNC, lots of comparisons between that cycle and this previous cycle. Data suggests that all-time high has been reached already. What is your ticket? I don't believe that. No. I mean, Bitcoin has just been so lackluster this year. It's only up, I mean, for this year, what is it up right now? Let me see if I can do a yearly chart on it really quick. 3 months, 6 months, 12 months chart on it. So in the last 12 months, it's only up 16% right now. So that's basically going back to this time last year. I don't know what it would be year to date. We could probably figure that out. Let's do monthly here. Where did we start out the year at? February, January. January, we started out at approximately 102,000. So let me pull this up for you guys as well, so you guys can take a look at it. So we were at 102,000 here in January. We are up right now as it is only 13.61% on Bitcoin here. Not what we would expect, right? On it compared to other cycles as well. And if we look at, I'm trying to figure out where can we look at the cycles. Well, we could probably do it here, maybe on a 12 month, but that still wouldn't show us. Let me see if we can have it. Where would it be? It would be probably over here. Let's take a look at this one over here. This is the quarterly. I wish I had annual returns on here. All I got is quarterly though. I'd really like to see the annual returns on it. It would be definitely different here, right? We've seen much bigger gains here in the past as well with Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's definitely a different cycle. I think it's going to be an extended cycle because of that. But that's just my take. I could be wrong. Or I could be right. And I'm not sure which way you guys are going on that one. Okay, let's see here. Talked about that. Okay, talked about that. Talked about that as well. SH, Bitfarms up there offered to, yeah, because the demand was very high. This bodes well for the future of Bitfarms. Yeah, I agree there. Let's see. Paul says, oh my God, 300,000. Sorry to hear that, especially taking it better than I would. I mean, I've seen this already, right? Where it was, where we're down on some days, it was down 150,000, 200,000, 250,000 even at some times, and then would go back up relatively quickly here. So I've been through this, but that's the issue that happens when your fortune grows, right? As it grows higher, the volatility is much higher at that point as well. So you got to understand that as well. Yeah, it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not something you would like to happen, but it's part of the process here. The SH, I agree. They're just doubling down. Sadie likes reminder. I appreciate that. All right, Sebastian, did you sell or buy more Bitfarms today? I did not sell or buy anything today. As you guys know, I'm still in the process of remodeling my basement here. So a lot of the capital that I do have is going into that right now. I don't want to sell anything and use the funds to do that while I think there's still more upside for a lot of these things. All right, Sebastian, would you invest in DMGI? It is OTC. How would you even buy it? Is it not listed in NASDAQ? DMGI, I think it is I think it's listed on like E-Trade, Schwab, maybe even Webull and others. But yeah, you can definitely buy it through those if you wanted to. Would I buy it? Probably not. I think some of these bigger miners here that we talk about more so may have more upside than the smaller guys here. But that's just my take. Okay, let's see. Mr. X, do you think today was just a result of market makers' algorithms manipulating the market to liquidate all the over-leveraged trades? It looked like it based on what we saw here with at least some of the miners, right? They were all trading in step. They would go down the same time. They would go up the same time. So it did look like it at that point. I think yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, Andrew says, sold half my Bitfarms at 626 pre-market and the other half at 571 at first drop, but back in at 540 for a small position to ride out the long haul. Best of luck, everyone. Gonna be rocky. All right, awesome. Nicely done. Okay, SH, I have been holding my Bitfarms position for more than a year, so I won't pay more than double the capital gains tax for short-term holdings. Nice. Let's see. Sarah says, protect Sebastian at all costs. Protect me from what? I'm okay. All right. This is a dip. We've had dips before. We've been probably down even more than this in the past. Let's see. Sir Lellington says, I'm a Highlander. Okay. That was a good movie, actually. Today's sell-off so let me see here. Today, sell-off got ready off the weak hands and replaced with stronger hands that looking for higher prices to profit from. So all overall is going very good for the long hold. I would agree there. All right, Guy, did you sold any miners today? I did not sell anything. No, or you still plan on holding specifically Cleanspark? Yeah, I'm still holding those guys there. I think we're gonna have shakeouts here and there. The miners have had a nice run. Even the markets have had a pretty nice run here. So a little bit of a shakeout, not a big deal. All right, let me see. Cass says, yeah, go to Bitfarms website. Yeah, took a look at that there. We covered that already. Victor, a lot of energy stocks. Hopefully HPCI momentum doesn't fade. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I don't think it's fading anytime soon. I think the HPCI momentum is going to continue on here, right? There's just too much money to be possibly made in this. I mean, think about this. If you develop, or one of these companies, whether it's Google, Grok, XAI, OpenAI, or anybody else, if they can develop cures for cancers or preventions for cancer, I mean, do you know how many billions and possibly trillions of dollars that is around the world? How valuable that is. If they create new novel materials as well for space flight or anything like that, that's going to make it less expensive, higher strength, anything like that, that is going to be, I mean, better than a gold mine. It's going to be pretty money at that point. So I think the money's going to continue going here because a lot of these guys are fighting for that supremacy, I think. They know it, and we know it too, that's going to be the case there. But, I mean, there's just so many things that it can do with it. So I'm bullish. I'm bullish on that for sure. All right. Let's see. SH Panther Creek. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was Bitfarms site that they're building out there. I got to remember that Panther Creek. But I got too many doggone names of the different sites that each company has. And then I get confused sometimes. All right. What else we got here? Amir. Evening, Sebastian. What's your largest position so far? My largest position would be IREN. ETF-wise, for my profit sharing plan, my retirement plan, that would be WGMI. That is my biggest position there. That one. Let's see. Okay, SH. I have a feeling that Bitfarms will build Washington site for around $180 million, complete to lease themselves, not to hyperscaler, same as IREN doing. Panther Creek will be contracted to a hyperscaler. That's a possibility for sure. We don't know, right? We'll find out in due course, I guess, on that one. Sean, question. I was going to buy Cleanspark today, but I seen it dropping, so I did not. In your opinion, do you think it's going to keep dropping or bounce back up? That'll depend on the overall market, right? So, I mean, we could have another dip tomorrow. We don't know. We could dip and then bounce. We don't know that either. It's just the sentiment of investors and maybe the algos as well. Right? If there's some good news that comes out from one of these guys, like IREN's buying more GPUs, it could lift up everybody. We're just one good news story away from these things popping back up here. So I don't know. When things were going down in the past, the way that I was able to amass a larger portion of these stocks was to dollar cost average in, right? I had a red day, I'd buy into them. But what you do is completely up to you and how you feel about doing that. That's, kind of the way you do it, which is okay. SH, don't feel bad, Seb. I'm down more than you today, but honestly, I feel pretty good about the future. We will make it back by next week. All right, good. So, I mean, we're of the same opinion there. All right, and weak employment numbers can work in our favor. Interest rates going down will mean debt will be paid off faster and more money going into the investments. The job numbers in Canada are fake. Okay, yeah, I mean, AI is a little bit of a double-edged sword there, right? Because you can have so much more efficiencies in things, but then you can also have a decrease in employment possibly. We'll have to, I mean, that's going to be a tricky one to play through. We'll play through it, but I think you're right. Interest rates are going to be helping out in the long run. That's coming later on this month for us. And then December as well, rate cuts there, that would be good. And then quantitative easing as well will be good. So, I mean, we have a lot of good things happening for us. All right, let's see. All right, Pitt says, hello, Seb and chat. What a roller coaster ride. Still holding Cleanspark almost 1 year now. Well, I've been holding it for 3 years now, since 2022. Yeah. And I've, as you guys know, I dollar cost average on it as much as I could. All right. When is the Democrats' shutdown going to end? That I don't know. They got to get to some terms on that one for sure. See. All right. Cass asks, Sebastian, on Bitfarms news, it writes conversion price of US 686 yesterday and price of 528 today. Can you explain how this convertible note works? Does it mean it won't drop below 528? It's based. It's based on the signing or when they're putting it out there. So I don't know if it's going to be 528 or 686 that they did on yesterday. It's whenever they finally sign it. So it could be actually even lower than that potentially when they do finally sign it. That's my understanding of it at least. All right, Guy, one good thing that we don't have to worry about, dilution for Cleanspark at $24, LOL back to 19. Right, a lot of people were asking about that, about the dilution that's going to be happening at 24. So yeah, you're right there. And says U.S. job numbers can be easily manipulated and more jobs are on the way with billions Trump has gotten from foreign investments. Yes, that will be coming in line as well. I saw an article as well that, what is it? Taiwanese Semiconductor is looking to buy more land in Arizona. I think it's Arizona to build out a new fab factory there at 2 nanometer scale, which is going to be great. It's going to be obviously bringing in a lot of jobs there. And we do need more jobs, obviously, as well. And jobs will be created for sure. But we need, I think interest rates going down will spur the economy more so than anything else because that allows people to invest and buy things. And, it makes it easier for the economy to boom at that point. All right. Paul says, just now bought IREN at 15.9, a share, new position, 24-hour market. We'll see. All right. Awesome. That's great. Let's see. Brett BG says, Trump's an actor. Well, he's not really an actor by trade, but he wrote the book, what is it, The Art of the Deal or something like that? So he's dealing and wheeling, that's for sure. Let's see here. Pitt says, Guy, I was a little worried too. I don't want it to go past 24 before 11, 21, 25. Is that when your options probably expire, I'm guessing? Kevin, as investors become more risk off, they may sell down BTC and AI related stocks. A double whammy on miners and HPC companies like Cleanspark. Sentiment needs to settle and improve. That will take time. Yeah, it's going to take time, right? We don't know if it's going to be a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but it will improve over time. Brett says, cycle is over, Seb. I don't believe that yet. Tapped out on October 4th. I don't think so either. The sign to get out was Bitfarms pumping from 70 cents to $7. They had a nice run, but all these guys had a nice run, so we could have said that for anybody, to be honest. Question, Bitcoin back to 109. Why are the miners still going red after hours? They're not tied to Bitcoin that much anymore as it is. Right? We saw Bitcoin being down on certain days and miners were going green. So they're more tied to the AI narrative now than anything else, I think, especially the ones that are getting into it, right? But that's pretty much all of them now. Martin, I think BTC has been held back by 1, lack of rate cuts since December, and 2, Trump tariff talks since November. This is about to change my opinion. Your take. It has been kept down, but I don't know if it's because of Trump. I think it's more because of the amount of institutions that are in it. They're just, right? I mean, we're seeing obviously a lot of companies buying it. Sailor Company, Strategy, Metaplanet, others are buying it. We got countries buying it possibly as well. And then you got people that are also in the banking sector, like Citibank, others as well, want to start letting people trade on their platforms or Bitcoin going forward or custody it, whatever it might be. So it might be just they're all in cahoots to try to keep it flat or down a little bit or give it a little bit of a green, but they want to keep it down so that they can ride it all the way up when it does finally, everybody's got their seats right now, right? So, or actually I should say, not everybody has their seat at the table right now. They all want to have the seat at the table and then they will let it run, I think. All right. AMR, what are the odds of BTC dropping lower? As far as the odds, it could drop back lower. I'm not too worried about that if it does. We're only down from the high here. What are we down so far on Bitcoin? Let's see. If we look at it on the daily from the high here, let me pull this up for you guys as well so you guys can see it. We're down. Let's see. Where do I want? I want that. I want to go from the peak here at 126,000, whatever that was, 296. We were down to our bottom was actually 15% drop, right, which was last Friday. We're only down now to today was down 14.8, and right now we're only down 13. So that's not out of the ordinary. We've had those drops before. Look at this drop that we had here as well, right? We bounced back up on that. We had drops from here to there. We bounced back up. This is just another one of those processes that we have to go through, unfortunately. That's just my opinion, and we'll continue to go up, longer, further up. All right, Marcus, BTC plus miner is following the same as gold plus miner with a lag. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing obviously gold doing pretty well. The M2 money supply is going up. Eventually, Bitcoin is going to follow that as well. SH, Bitfarms' first initial exercise, I talked about that already. I think in the cap price of the capped call transaction is initially $11.88 per common shares. Okay, so that's actually not too bad. 67.37. Can we see your price target for Hive? For Hive, yeah. Let me pull that up here really quick. My price target, here it is, between 9.34 and 14.02. They are at $6.81 today, I believe. I updated this today. So still undervalued, in my opinion, from where they really should be. All right, let's go back here on that one. Okay. Victor C, if Cypher gets a deal this month, would it pump regardless of the sentiment? It should, yeah, depending on the deal that they get. Yeah, I would think it would pump at that point. Because we saw, obviously, what was it? Oracle was up today. Nimbus was actually down. There was another one that was up today. So we had some that were actually up in the green today. All right, Kerba says, more downside to come, especially, say, IREN. And IREN, it's overvalued with zero hodl. But the hodl's not being valued anyways right now in the miners, so it doesn't really make any sense there to hodl. It seems like right now it seems like it. So as far as being overvalued how? They had the megawatts potential. They're building out Horizon 1 and then Horizon 2 on top of it. They got 23,000 GPUs with that, once fully installed, will be generating 500 million in annual run rate next year. If they double that GPU count, you're looking at 1 billion annual run rate at that point. So I don't see how they're still undervalued. If you look at Nebius, where Nebius is valued at what is it, 40 some odd billion, I think, right, or even higher than that. IREN would still need to at least go like double or triple from here to be closely valued to what Nebius is. All right. Carl, is tomorrow Options Friday? And if yes, won't that likely drive everything further? I believe it is, yeah. So that's why I'm saying we may have a down day tomorrow as well. Morton, the first Highlander was excellent. The sequels, not so much. I would agree with you there as well. Yeah, the first Highlander was freaking awesome. I remember that movie. That was great. Makes me want to watch it again. Yeah, I may have to watch that over the weekend here. That's a great movie that I haven't seen in a long time. All right, Sebastian, tried day trading Bitfarms after it dipped. It sank even more, was down 2.7 thousand, but somehow escaped with a $40 profit. What a relief. Okay, nice. This is why I don't day trade, right? I try to invest in things for a little bit longer term there, or at least buy them when they're nobody's wanting them, right? And then obviously sell them when people do want them. All right. How many shares do you hold of Cleanspark? I got over 10,000 shares in that one. Okay. Cobra, your crackers to buy IREN with a trailing PE of 164. Well, that's a trailing PE, right? You got to look at the forward PE. All right. Let's see. Michael says, I'm not worried at all. I bought the dip today. That's awesome. Great to have that conviction there. If I had the cash, I probably would have been buying today as well. Cobra says, yeah, I need to get a handle on miners more tied to the Russell and say hype of AI for IREN. This AI reeks of bubble, although it's the future. Multiples don't equate to the extreme revenue baked in. I mean, that's kind of that's your take on it. I mean, that's everybody's got their own opinion, right? We believe that there's still obviously a lot more upside to these guys here. We've obviously seen it from the analysts as well. We're seeing just a lot of good stuff happening. That you might be right. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you might. I see it a little bit differently though. Kevin, BTC bouncing off of 200 SMA on the daily chart. If support breaks, it could get messy. Yeah, we talked about that, right? So as long as keeps bouncing off the 200 SMA, we should be okay. Let me take a look back, see if we can look back on it to see last time that we actually broke through the 200 SMA. This was back in, pull this up here. Last time we broke the 200 SMA, if we follow it, was back here in March of this year. March and February of this year, we broke below it. Let's see if we can kind of see it. Trying to see if we have a similar setup here on the downside, and then we went up much higher. No, I'm not seeing that, at least not right now. So, I mean, we did bounce off of it here, fell below it, so I think we're holding above it right now, which is good. But I mean, we did stay below it there for a while, and then we finally bounced on it as well. So that still wouldn't be the end of the rally there. I think if we do, we would probably need to hold like the 100,000 mark for this to continue here, which I think it will. But we shall see. Anything is possible in this space, that's for sure. All right, so that says, Sebastian, at this point, is it better to buy Bitcoin ETF than Bitcoin miners? I mean, if Bitcoin does go in a nice rally, that will also help the miners here. And then I think if Bitcoin's going up, I think the Bitcoin AI miners will go up even harder at that point. So, I mean, that's up to you. I own Bitcoin as well. But Bitcoin has definitely underperformed this year compared to the miners here. So I'll just leave it at that. But so that's completely up to you. Let's see, Hive is much lower than 681. Is it? Okay. Then I haven't updated, or at least I thought I did. Okay, Sir Langton says, looking forward to the Highlander reboot. You have good taste, Seba. I appreciate that. I didn't know they were making a Highlander reboot. Do you know when that's coming out, though? I'd love to see that on that one. Chillaxing, I took a lot of profits Tuesday. Thank God, going to ride out with the rest. Awesome. And then Terry, of all the miners up today, Mawson, crazy. Yeah, I know. That was kind of strange to see that. Andrea, if last Friday didn't stop further buying, I cannot believe this is the end. I bought huge dips today. Wish me luck. I do wish you luck and everybody else that bought today. I wish I could have been buying with you guys as well. Unfortunately, my cash is all in construction right now for the basement. Okay. Aladdin, I joined the session late with this. Will this still continue this week? Any chance it will pick up on next week? What's the prediction? I think tomorrow with the options expirations, if we do have those, which I do think we do, I think we might be down a little bit more tomorrow, and then we might bounce back later on next week. All right, so we'll see. It's going to be, I mean, it's not going to be ever an easy ride. I mean, we had a nice run here in the last couple of weeks on these guys. So we're still doing good. A little bit of dips here, a little bit of corrections are good things to happen for us. We never like them, but they are needed. And then Aladdin, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right here. Should we wait for the pullback and then enter again, especially on Cleanspark, High tomorrow, a bit dear? If we get a pullback, you can definitely get in at that time. I would just say buy the dips, right? So maybe not put everything all at once in the basket. Slowly dollar cost average into these guys, all right? You got a dip today, maybe buy a little bit. You get a dip tomorrow, buy a little bit more. And if we dip again sometime next week or something like that, buy the dip again at that point. Because you just never know. It's always hard to time the bottoms and the tops. That's why I like the dollar cost average in. I'm not going to get the lowest, I'm not going to get the highest either, but I'm going to get somewhere in a nice median there at that point. All right, I got a couple more coming in here from AMR. I know it's time to load up. Mostly I'm stuck between regretting not taking profit and the fear of leaving money on the table after exiting. What are you planning to turn your basement into a rec room? Well, I'm going to finish out the little studio that I have here. I'm going to do that, soundproof it, isolate it from everything else that goes on in the house with the kids running around. And the other part of it is, I want to have a little bar area, pool table, and just like a nice media area for watching movies. I want to put I'm debating whether to do like one of those short throw projectors on the screen, or if I'm going to just buy like a 95-inch TV that you can get for now for like, what, $1,500, $2,000, something like that, and throw it up on the wall and be done with it at that point. Just some place to chill, have the kids be able to hang out, have fun, especially as they're getting older as well. Play video games, things like that. All right, talked about that. Let's see. Aladdin, excellent job, Seb. Appreciate you. Very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Cobra, the market is irrational. As you can see, treasury companies are at MNAV of 0.5. You need to zoom out, and it's well documented. The revolving AI revenues say AMD tie-up deals. Be careful, guys. Yeah, you always want to be careful in the markets here. So it'll be interesting. Well, I think we're still going up much more, but we'll see. Mr. X, if Bitcoin can stay over 100,000 in 2020 into 2026, will the old BTC cycle be broken? Yes, I believe at that point, yeah. Let's see, Game01, I regret not selling. Gave up a lot of money. We all did, right? But that's, if you're a longer term investor, that's what you're going to end up having from time to time. I hope they go back up. Too emotional. They got wrecked. The miners took a big hit. yeah, you got to know what you own. You have to have obviously some sense of, oh gosh, conviction, I guess, and then also some sense of knowing what you own and where you think those things are going to be going in the future, right? Is AI the future going forward? I strongly believe that. And then can these guys get rewarded because of that? I think so also. So I'm willing to hold on a little bit longer here, but we're going to have these kind of dips. So you have to be obviously almost like emotionless in a certain regard. And if you've been with Bitcoin miners or Bitcoin over the last 2 cycles or something like that, you're pretty numb to this right now anyways. You should be at least. You've been through this. You've been beaten down. You've had huge highs, huge lows. This should be a walk in the park for you. This is a piece of cake, right? It's when you go down 50, 60, 70% on some of these guys, or even 80%, that's pain there. This is a breeze right now, okay? All right, so we'll call it a day. I think we're all caught up to all the questions and everything else. I don't see anything else coming in here. Yeah, I think we're all good here. So we'll leave it at that. All right, I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. As always, we'll cover whatever happens tomorrow with Bitcoin miners as well. Hopefully it's going to be to the positive side for you guys and for myself as well. And we'll talk about it all, right? We'll get into some miner stats maybe as well and things like that. But tomorrow's Friday. Weeks is almost over with. Hopefully it changes around for us either tomorrow or early next week sometime. But we'll talk about it nonetheless. All right, love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.